Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition. Wow, a tale for the ages. Such a thrilling story. In 2010, Nintendo announced the 3DS, a successor to the DS that could play games in 3D, which at the time was a fucking huge deal. 3D this, 3D that. Everyone and their parole officer needed 3D to be a part of everything. Movies, TV shows, and yes, even video games. The issue was, this thing didn't have that much power, and using 3D meant cutting your already low resolution in half. But you know what? Who cares? It's got a Mario, an Animal Crossing, another Mario, a third Mario. I mean, Christ, this thing's got everything I want. And only $170? Wow, what a bargain. But wait a minute, something's missing. Owners of the 3DS could feel the presence of something, or rather lack thereof. But finally, after over 3 years of waiting, it had finally arrived. On November 20th, 2014, it finally happened. Battleminer was officially released for the 3DS. It was everything we wanted. The mining, the crafting, it's all here. Movement is done with the circle pad, while the camera control is done with the face buttons. The game runs so smoothly and has all the features we grew up with. There's mobs, inventory management, naturally generated structures, AK-47s. Wow, what? And there's bombs, too. There's a bigger selection of handguns than I remember, but maybe I'm just confused. Okay, maybe that wasn't it, but just a few months later, on April 23rd, 2015, we really got our prayers answered, when Cube Creator 3D finally made its way onto the 3DS. It was everything we wanted, that classic look with all the elements. The 3DS version even featured some improvements. The cows are round now. The C-Stick was even supported for new 3DS systems. Bears were added. Wow, they really went all out here. I don't really remember whatever the fuck this is, though. The water also doesn't look very good. But at least this version supports local multiplayer. If you pay for it? What the fuck? Alright, well, it wasn't that one either, but for sure this time, God had finally listened and graced the eShop just a few short years later on December 21st, 2017. Battleminers, with a Z, was released. Wow, here it is, the real deal. Still doesn't support the C-Stick, but that's okay. We can customize Steve's look, too. This game has a tutorial built into it as well. Wow, the graphics and sounds are so much better, too. The bottom screen even has a built-in map. The mobs look a bit crusty, though, and I can't hit them. There's also a bunch of mobs I don't remember. Like, what the fuck are these things? And these assault rifles still don't ring a bell. At least this one has built-in chat. I don't know who the fuck you'd be talking to, though. Okay, well, that sucked. Alright, well, this time for real. This is finally it, what we've all been waiting for. Here it is, January 8th, 2019. Cube Creators DX. Wow, here it is, after all this time. Finally, the game we've been waiting for, right here in the palm of my hand. Wow, listen to this music, they really stepped it up. It's almost like Zelda-y. You can customize your spawn with different biomes, and they even added a way to share your worlds. Wow, the frame rate's worse, but I can live with that. I don't really know who the fuck this is also. You're playing as Kirby with jaundice. Weird game over screen, too. There's a lot of new biomes, though, which is exciting, but these worlds are really tiny. And also, this game controls like piss. What the fuck? Well, if this isn't it, then what the hell am I waiting for? Wait, let me see here. Oh, yeah, that's right, Minecraft. Oh, well, wait, isn't the Nintendo Switch out already? Where the hell is Minecraft on my 3DS? I've been waiting all this time and I'm still stuck with these shitty bootleg— Oh, the game's been out for 2 years. Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition. It's finally here after being shadow dropped in a Nintendo Direct. Wow, I waited 7 fucking years for this. Available exclusively in the 3DS eShop to receive a physical release the next month only in North America. What in God's name is going on here? How did we get here? Wasn't this supposed to happen like 6 years ago? Why is there no 3D? What does this warning mean? Alright, well hold on. Let's pause for a second. Minecraft, the best-selling game on the planet. This indie game turned corporate cancer had a small start as it was slowly being developed into a fully fleshed-out game throughout 2009 and 2010 for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Since its first public release on May 17, 2009, Java Edition has grown and expanded massively while spawning its own little massive successes, all starting with Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition. Some people were skeptical about adapting Minecraft's controls to a controller, but upon its release, it was clear that every kid on the block would blow their brains out if that fat guy didn't get them a copy come Christmas 2012. And despite the game lacking Kinect support like Phil Spencer promised us at E3 2011.
And this year, you'll get to experience the infinite possibilities of Minecraft combined with the magic of Kinect.
Fucking liar. Somehow the world managed. And from there, born was the console legacy line of Minecraft ports. These console legacy ports stood strong alongside Java Edition and the recently released Pocket Edition. The games were known for their solid programming and minimal bugs, controls and UI that were perfectly tailored for the consoles they were developed for. It seemed like console players had an extremely well-optimized line of ports that they could trust to provide them with exactly what they were missing from PCs. But it wouldn't last forever. After nearly 6 years running strong, the console legacy line of Minecraft ports saw its final installment and was suddenly dying and being replaced. What was replacing these console ports? None other than Minecraft Pocket Edition. Starting September 20th, 2017, the Better Together update struck the franchise, and Minecraft Xbox One Edition was replaced with Minecraft Pocket Edition, now simply called Minecraft. The same happened to the confusingly named Minecraft Windows 10 Edition, which wasn't a console legacy port, but rather a literal port of Pocket Edition to PC, even though Java Edition had been on PC since Minecraft came into existence. So yeah, what would you rather play on PC, the full-blown experience or the mobile version? Such a tough decision. Well, within a few months of the Better Together update, more news of the console legacy purge was rolled out. The previous generation of consoles would cease being updated, and the most recent consoles would see their ports being replaced by this new version of the mobile game. By June of 2018, console legacy was practically dead, the only remnant being PS4 Edition, which was only supported while Microsoft worked out crossplay tension with Sony until late 2019. But while console legacy was being killed off, there was something going on in the background that not many people were really paying attention to. There were a handful of ports with much smaller player bases than console legacy that were also making the transition. These ports were in the same party as Windows 10 Edition, versions of Minecraft Pocket Edition slightly modified to run on niche hardware. And despite being ports of Pocket Edition, were given names similar to the console legacy games. Minecraft Gear VR Edition, Fire TV Edition, Apple TV Edition, Windows 10 Edition for Oculus Rift, all one-off ports of Pocket Edition, one by one making the transition to this new modern Minecraft. Except Apple TV Edition. Nobody cares about Apple TV Edition. Except me. And funnily enough, every single one of these one-off ports are no longer supported. But at the time, it was clear that these one-off versions of Minecraft where multiplayer was limited only to players using the same version were a thing of the past. Going forward, any copy of Minecraft you buy will support crossplay with every other platform that Minecraft is on, until Mojang stops feeling like it. No more Xbox One multiplayer only. No more Gear VR players being isolated from PS4 players. No more Wii U owners being stuck playing with other Wii U owners. Okay, well that one, yeah, that's they can still only play with Wii U owners. But the point being that all the confusion of version names and crossplay and backward compatibility, all things of the past. Going forward, anything Minecraft is just going to be called Minecraft, and it's all going to be under the same roof. But for some dumb fucking reason, amidst all this push to move the franchise forward and unite every platform the game is supported on, Mojang made a bizarre decision. A decision that not only made no sense whatsoever, but also went against everything they'd been pushing for the last few months. Something that would stand out while every other version was being moved into the future. On September 13th, 2017, for some fuck-all reason, Mojang announced and released Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition. Yes, after all this push towards a universal version of Minecraft that all work in tandem with each other, Mojang released a version of Minecraft that did absolutely none of that. A version of Minecraft that didn't even have multiplayer, let alone crossplay. A version with Edition in the title. A version of Minecraft based on Pocket Edition, behind so far on the latest update that the end wasn't even in the game at launch. What in the holy mother of fuck is going on? Shouldn't this game have come out like 5 years ago? You know, back when all the consoles were getting their console legacy ports? What's the point of releasing it now? Not only is the 3DS's eventual successor out, but so is its own port of Minecraft. What's the point of this happening now? Well, before I lose my shit, let me step back for a moment and explain why this thing happened. I don't know. 3D, right? Remember 3D? It's like having two dimensions, but there's a third one also. Invented by John 3D in the year 2003, 3D took over every single form of media out there. People were going to the movies and watching Nicole Kidman say meaningless garbage in 3D. Families were sitting in their living room watching their favorite nature shows in 3D. Nerds were walking around with their 3D smartphones. People were getting their PlayStation 3D monitors and playing Black Ops in 3D. 3D here, 3D there. People just couldn't live without 3D. If you asked someone in 2010 to see Avatar with you in 2D, they would kill your entire family in front of you. You'd invite some bitches over and they'd gawk at your 3D TV, your 3D computer monitor, and more impressively, your non-rechargeable Samsung 3D glasses. It was guaranteed head. The issue with all of this was it was kind of seen as a passing fad. 3D was always a big deal when some big movie came out. In the 50s, you'd see Creature from the Black Lagoon with your cringe blue and red glasses. In the 80s, everyone had to see Jaws 3D and get their mind blown by some of the most mediocre writing Hollywood's ever thrown up. And now finally, in 2009, America received what we were all waiting for. An overrated 2.5-hour movie about horny aliens with really cool 3D effects. Technology had finally become great, and all it took was whatever this was. The industry always got excited about 3D when a big film came out, but the interest would always fizzle out like one of Rush Limbaugh's cigarettes. But this time, something was different. Avatar, for some ungodly reason, became the highest-grossing film in human history, setting landmarks for new 3D technology and other garbage. And $2.9 billion was all it took for the industry to start putting 3D in everything. Now, let's step back from the movies for a second and move back over to Nintendo. Nintendo has always loved 3D since the very beginning. They tried 3D in everything. In the 1980s, you had the Famicom 3D system, this bulky set of 3D glasses that let you play Famicom games by alternating perspectives to your left and right eye with each frame, thus creating a 3D effect. In the 90s, you had the Virtual Boy that brought all the fun of epileptic seizures to the living room. In the 2000s, Nintendo tried getting 3D technology integrated with the Game Boy Advance, GameCube, and even the Wii, but failed miserably for so many different reasons. All of these attempts shared one thing in common. They were cool, but they were flawed. Far too flawed to be considered a success, and the numbers show it. But finally, in 2011, Nintendo made their first 3D console in 16 years, and it just literally worked. Like, no questions asked, it just functioned properly. And it didn't do too well at first, but it ended up having a pretty good life. It died at the age of 68 from rheumatic heart disease. So why the fuck am I telling you this? Why did you just listen to some jerk-off lecture you about the 3D industry? Well, I didn't really need to tell you all that, but the reason I did is because it's important to understand what this console stands for. All the events and influence that led to this console being made and how society saw its place within the greater war of selling 3D shit to consumers. Society, man. So what does this mean for Minecraft? Well, let's get back into that. Has Minecraft ever been in 3D? Yes, it has. In fact, before the 3DS even came out. In the beta 1.2 update, Anaglyph 3D was thrown into Java just for the hell of it. So if you had them red and blue glasses, you could play in 3D. Not anymore, though. And then later on, when the game was ported to Gear VR and the Oculus Rift, 3D gameplay was possible and in full color this time. Not anymore, though. And even more recently, Minecraft added support for the original model PSVR. Soon to not be anymore, though. So let's not pretend that Minecraft has never seen 3D, but realistically, it's never just seen straight-up stereoscopic 3D on a flat screen, and that's something people were interested in seeing. So naturally, Mojang didn't do it, which was cool. They just kinda stood by as the 3D hype peaked and slowly died by 2016, just doing what they do best, making stupid decisions. And while on the topic of stupid decisions, all of what I've just told you, everything you've learned about the 3D industry, Nintendo's history with it, and how Minecraft incorporated the technology has all led you to right here, right now. September 13th, 2017. The day Microsoft's Xbox Game Studios published Mojang and Other Ocean Interactive's Minecraft for Nintendo's new 3DS systems. The day the Earth stood still. 6 months after the launch of the Switch, and 4 months after the launch of Minecraft on the Switch. Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition was launched digitally with support for 3D coming soon. Well, boys, another successful launch of an unfinished game. As the 50,000 subscriber milestone has been hit for this channel, I'd like to thank all the mental institutions around America who let their patients watch my videos. Without those ignorant nurses and caretakers, that Minecraft Apple TV video wouldn't have cracked probably 5K views. Without prolonging this any further, let's take a deep dive into one of the biggest disappointments to some of the fewest people in the history of gaming. This is Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition. Let me start this off by saying I haven't felt anything in 8 months. When Minecraft 3DS Edition first came out, it was really limited. Bunch of shit missing. Look at this crap. Can you believe this? This is what I got all excited for? I skipped my brother's wedding for this? Although there's much missing here, it brings back a feeling from a more innocent, better time. There's no end, no wither, no elder guardians or ocean monuments. No point. Just play for the hell of it, I guess. Not achievements or some boss. You're just playing because. But maybe that wasn't a bad thing. Maybe this game is at its funnest when the only goals you have are the ones you set for yourself. It reminds me a lot of the early days of Xbox 360 Edition. All it's missing is a broken home with parents fighting on Christmas. The difference between the early days of Xbox 360 Edition and the early days of 3DS Edition is that Xbox 360 Edition was developed in a time where Mojang developers were competent and worked with another company filled with developers that were also competent. And as more and more updates came out, the developers put in place features that ensured veteran players that their old worlds could still be relevant after new updates. 3DS Edition, on the other hand, was developed by incompetent designers and programmers who have no idea how to give an ongoing game a proper life cycle or how to maintain consistent and stable builds, leaving the game in a less stable state with more bugs and glitches than it had at launch, throwing in the towel after 16 months of quote-unquote development. Incompetent developers who took Pocket Edition version 0.15.4 alpha, stuck it in a 3DS cartridge, and all they had to do was build off of an already completed game. But still, somehow, through the magic of soulless cash grab game development, somehow managed to make a port of Minecraft, the most stable version of which is the first, which they didn't even develop. Over the course of a year and 4 months, Mojang and Other Ocean managed to deteriorate the programming of a built-in map, decay textures as random black pixels just showed up in the UI over time, never fixed the neon polygons in clouds or the glitching lighting in the skybox, never adjust the biome scales to accommodate for smaller world sizes, leading to worlds comprised of 1 or 2 giant biomes and naturally generated structures that have less than a % chance of generating, never adjusting mob spawn rates for lower mob caps, throwing in game-breaking glitches, one of my favorites and most common being a glitch where several hotbar slots and sometimes the entire hotbar ceases to work, making old worlds completely useless and rendering them unplayable, leads and fishing rod strings that are literally 1 pixel tall and wide, and so much more. And if you want to throw up the excuse that they were limited with the technology, I'd like to remind you that the first release of this game, which was Pocket Edition version 0.15.4 Alpha, was completely fine. Not perfect, but fine. And also, not to mention the fact that these are professional video game development studios. There is no excuse for this shit. Over 16 months, these guys withered this game and were not only more than happy to charge you $30 for it, but also more than happy to leave you with this buggy mess on January 15th, 2019, when the final update came out for it. Hope you enjoy this mess we left you. And although this game is an embarrassing example of the state of this industry's insistence on pushing the barrier of how lazily you can develop games while consumers will still happily buy it, I'll be damned if they didn't manage to cram in over $50 of DLC over the course of its lifetime. I guess that really makes up for this falling apart mess. But is this game really just that terrible? No, it's not, but that's only because it's Minecraft. Even if every update added a new slew of bugs that would never be fixed, they also added new blocks, bosses, mobs, biomes, achievements, and even multiplayer. Of course, it's still fun, albeit frustratingly lazy. I'm not telling you not to play this game, and I'm not telling you I don't enjoy this game, because it's Minecraft. I hope you heard that, Minecraft 3DS Discord. Those fuckers have shit-talked me before. But seriously, if you pick up this game today, what are you getting? What is the Minecraft new Nintendo 3DS Edition experience you can expect? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. If you've ever wondered what it's like to watch someone die in every way except physically, look no further. This is the final release of Minecraft, new Nintendo 3DS Edition. I think it's fair to assume that if you're playing this game, things aren't going too well for you right now. But none of that matters, because you get to sit back and cozy up with Minecraft on a tiny 240p screen. This is what we in the computer world call a main menu. You can poke your nose around, but you're not going to find much. However, you will be able to give Steve a seizure. Very few settings. No fucking with the render distance, no button mapping, not even a place to put in the show nudity code. The game really does very little to cater to us Harvard graduates. You of course have your manual and skins, but some of these skins are locked. Well, if you're sober enough to remember one Fade to Black and about 4 poorly written jokes ago, you may recall me saying this game had over $50 of DLC. Among that DLC was a bunch of skin packs, texture packs, and 1 mashup pack. If that sounds interesting to you, I got bad news. The 3DS eShop fucking died. But if you got a 3DS, a computer, and about 9 minutes, you too can pirate some of the most meaningless digital content man has ever created. Creating a world is such a sacred process. It's like killing someone you love. Navigating these menus is like hell, by the way. You can either use the circle pad or D-pad and have it click from option to option. Or if you're feeling exotic, you can use the old slider on the side here and get some of the best screen-tearing technology has to offer. Creative or survival, difficulty, world size, super flat, we can only really blame ourselves as a race for this. The more you play this game, the slower it gets. I'm being serious. First of all, you can only have up to 8 worlds. That may not sound terrible, but you'll see later on why that's a major issue. No more than 8. It doesn't matter if you got a 2TB micro SD card in this thing. You're not making a 9th world, just give up. All your data is stored on your micro SD card, and Christ almighty does it take long to load worlds off of it. When you first boot into a fresh world, boy does it run reasonably. But don't get used to this, it doesn't last long. This game, and I love this, targets 60 frames per second. Yeah, it definitely does that. But in the 2 mashup worlds featured in this version, the game caps at 30 frames, because God knows it's not going a frame above 30. Even expecting 30 is hilarious. But just you wait and see. Keep watching and experience the thrill of this game's performance getting worse and worse the more I play it. You guys hear about this iPhone everyone's been talking about? It's got porn on it, but you gotta touch the screen to use it. Fuck, man. The iPhone inspired me to touch many other things, but one of them was the bottom half of this 4K scan of a 3DS with Minecraft gameplay in it. And it turns out that you can actually touch it to do things. I have dementia. But the first version of Minecraft outside Pocket Edition to support the use of a touchscreen was PS Vita Edition, which I also have a video on. I suggest watching it if you still have nothing better to do after this, but touchscreen support was laughably limited. Nothing special. No inventory management or anything like that. The most use you'll get out of this thing is tapping on an item in the hotbar instead of using the D-pad. Cut ahead like a year and Minecraft came out for the Nintendo Scott the Woz, and once again, same shit. Barely any useful touchscreen crap. It's actually less useful here than it was on PS Vita, because at least on the Vita the screen was small so you could easily reach what you want. Here, touching the hotbar just doesn't make sense over using the bumpers. What a swell use of a giant touchscreen. Cut ahead once more like 2 years, and now we're in the exact same situation, but on a Nintendo Switch this time. Boy, someone at 4J Studios is just really fucking stupid. How did this happen 3 times over the course of 4 years? You'd think they just would have accidentally done it by this point. Well, here we are again. The 4K 3DS scan is back on screen, so it's probably relevant to my next point. I said earlier that this version is built off of Pocket Edition, and as those of us with hands know, Pocket Edition featured touch controls and literally only touch controls and nothing but touch controls. Except once. And how about it, this game features similar touch controls to the game it literally is. Inventory management can of course be done with a highlighter, but it's much more convenient to just use touch controls. Unless you're shoving shit in a chest or splitting a stack, using these buttons is just slower. Makes you wonder if these versions would have actual touch controls if they were built off a version of Minecraft that already had touch controls too. I'm beginning to think that the people who work on these games are just actually lazy and do not care. This is a new 3DS exclusive, meaning you can only play it if you made enough mistakes 5.5 years ago. But you can't play it on those dinky old 3DSs, them with their inferior processing power and same everything else. But these ones got 3 more forms of input, the ZL and ZR buttons. Wow, with these I can change the highlighted item in my hotbar instead of using the D-pad, which also works if I wanted to use that instead. What do you think of that, PS Vita? You piece of shit. The C-stick, also known as that red dot on your laptop. I can use this to move the camera freely except for when I play too long and my thumb is sweaty and keeps slipping off of it. That's a problem you should be ashamed to have, by the way. Ever try to play a new 3DS exclusive on an old 3DS? It's illegal in most states. I think it's fair to believe that Minecraft in this capacity could not run on an old 3DS. Still though, the first new 3DS systems came out in Japan at the end of 2014, so you know, this isn't something that's ever gonna make sense. The general gameplay here is fine, by the way. I'm not gonna pretend like the fact that this is on a tiny 3DS screen doesn't make this more fun. It just does, and we all know it. Let's not kid ourselves. The controls are fine. You can't change any of them, though. I can live with the right button being jump. I won't be happy with it, but I'll live. I can pretend like crunching my thumb up like this for hours at a time is completely fine. To change your perspective or crouch, you use up and down on the D-pad respectively, a button assignment borrowed from the PS Vita version since that system also doesn't have pressable joysticks. Using the circle pad to play is fine. A forgotten ritual of Minecraft is the ancient practice of sitting still while the game saves. In all console legacy titles, the game autosaves on a timer. Back in the day, we used to have to stop playing while the game saved in the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions, but at some point in March of 2014, some genius figured out that you don't need to pause the entire fucking game just to save. And from there on out, all we got was this little chest icon that meant the game was saving. Wow, how spoiled we've become. But in those console legacy games, you had the option to leave the game without saving. Wow, what a throwback. This game has a mandatory autosave every 20 minutes that fucking sucks. You see it coming. The game warns you like there's a shotgun being cocked right behind your head. It's funny because the chat that's built into the game, which you can't use by the way, can only display 3 messages max at a time. And then the saving. Good God, the saving. It takes like half a fucking minute to save, as opposed to this. That may sound like the most first world problem in existence, which it is, but you just gotta play this and feel the pain I felt. This is honestly the one thing I'd believe the devs couldn't optimize any further, but it's still just the worst. And you can't turn off autosave. That was probably the right decision by the devs though, considering how unstable this game is. It's not too rare for this game to just freeze or flat out crash. Nothing feels better than losing hours of progress in a video game that means nothing. Maybe you've noticed, but this game's render distance sucks a mighty fine cock. It reminds me of the tiny render distance setting in Minecraft Classic for browsers. Disgusting. This map here is going to be your best friend. This is how you're going to know where the fuck you are. You're not going to find your way by looking forward, as dumb as that sounds. You're not going to be able to fucking see any of it. Bless this map. And by the way, this map. Earlier I said that the map just got destroyed with each update. This is what I meant. Going from the launch version of the map where it just functions as a map to the final version map, you can't help but wonder what line of code was changed that just destroyed it. As you fill out your map, there's these weird 1 pixel wide streaks and the map always fills in really thin bars and won't fully fill in unless you just jump around in a circle or spin in place. You gotta like walk over the same spot repeatedly to truly fill it in. It can just look so terrible sometimes. Like what the fuck did they do? How does this even break just enough so that it still functions but doesn't work completely correctly? What the hell was going on in this code? And if that isn't putrid enough, let's have another look at this wonderful piece of expert programming from professional video game developers at a professional video game studio led by professional video game directors, probably with 6-digit salaries. You would assume that the world can be evenly and completely filled out on your bottom map. But of course, the world is too big to fit on one map. So whenever you walk off the map, a new map for that portion of the world replaces the old one. Okay, right? Well, the only map you can see is the one of the current portion of map you're in. You can't scroll around to other maps. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that negate like 50% of the fucking point of maps? You know, like the aspect of knowing where in the world you fucking are. Did we just forget the point of having this here? So I can know where I currently am, but not where I currently am not. So glad I have some way to confirm that yes, I am at the moment here. But if I go all the way over here and walk off the map, where will I be? Guess I'll just have to spend 8 minutes walking there and find out. And the edge of the world. Oh my god, the edge of the world. You would think this game was programmed by fish. You would assume that the edges of the world coincide with the edges of the maps touching them, right? You know, so that maybe this edge here may also be where the world ends? Oh my god, does it not? You think we even know how to do that? We barely ported an APK to a 3DS. No, there's just a gigantic black void that can never be fully filled in. And to make things even better, it's uneven at all 4 sides of the world. And no, to make things even better than that, sometimes the edge of a world will be off the map, but a new map won't exist, so you're just walking outside of what's visible and guessing where you are. And then you end up finding the edge of the world, but since it's off the map, there's nothing to fill in. Not that you could fill it in anyway, because it's the end of the fucking world. It's the little things like that that let you know that nobody working on this game cared enough to do something about this. This is not okay. This is not how you program a map. I love this one. The crafting menu, right? So you press the A button to craft the item you're highlighting, okay? But your highlighter never moves. So when whatever you're crafting becomes no longer craftable, instead of your highlighter following that item to the grayed out portion of the menu, it just stays in the same spot it's been at. So if you're spamming the A button to craft a bunch of something, you better pay attention or you're gonna end up crafting a bunch of something you don't need. That may sound like a petty complaint, but it is just at its absolute best when the items in front of whatever you're crafting use the same materials as the item you're crafting. So every few taps of the A button, something in front of it becomes no longer craftable, and you have to remove your highlighter back to the item you actually want to craft. This can happen multiple times while crafting something. Like, how do you even hire people who program video games like this? What the fuck is happening to this industry? Why are we pretending like this is okay? Us pretending that this is acceptable is why it's happening. I love graphical glitches. I especially like the ones that don't even make any fucking sense. Like, make so little sense that it's like, how does code even compile in a way that leads to this? Sometimes on certain elements of the UI, there will just be random black pixels for no reason. And this didn't happen in the original release. At some point down the line, something happened and now there's just random black pixels in random spots for no reason at arbitrary times. Sometimes a single polygon of a cloud will just be a random color. Like just straight up neon orange sometimes. This one was always in the game. For 1 year and 4 months, nobody at Other Ocean, Mojang, or Microsoft could figure out how to not let cloud polygons turn random colors. The sky often glitches. In between day and night, the color of the gradient in the skybox is based off the direction you're facing, and they fucked up something because the threshold of turn to skybox color is just not correct. I'm just going to show you footage of what I'm talking about instead of trying to explain it. And sometimes there's Z fighting in the skybox, which I don't even know how that's possible. I also am a big fan of lighting glitches. This game has different distances for what is currently being rendered, and obviously like 99% of the blocks always render within the full render distance, but for some reason glass isn't included in that pool. So when you're walking towards a structure with glass, or maybe a structure that just happens to be high up, there's just nothing, and you have to be weirdly close for the glass to render. Like a chunk away close. It's bizarre. Let's talk about biome scale. When some numbnut spews out trivia about this game, the one you often hear is that the large size of a world in this game is larger than the world size in a lot of console versions of this game. The 3DS's large world size is 2016 by 2016. Xbox 360, PS3, and PS Vita all have one world size, 864 by 864. And the Wii U edition has 3 sizes, the largest of them also being 864 by 864. So it's crazy to think that these guys could only do 864 by 864 while this dinky 3DS can pull off 2016 by 2016. And while, yeah, I guess it is, the difference is these versions, for the most part, were programmed by people with common sense. This game was not. When you take a version of Minecraft where the default world size is infinite by infinite and limit it to 2016 by 2016, you need to adjust certain things, right? You need to make sure that when limiting infinite by infinite to 2016 by 2016, that biomes and naturally generated structures are adjusted to accommodate for the limited space. And what happens if you don't do that? Well, you get worlds that are 2 biomes and have nothing in them. Enjoy. Yeah, when you create a new world, there is a truly great chance that you will get unlucky and have like 3 or 4 biomes at most in your entire world and not have a single village or ocean monument or anything else interesting. What often happens is you get these massive biomes for miles and miles and fucking miles because biome scale was never adjusted for this game. So because of the limited world size, the odds of any of your favorite structures popping up become fractions of fractions. The world you'll see the majority of footage from throughout this video had a grand total of 7 biomes, 5 of which were grass and tree biomes, the 2 others being a mountain and the ocean. The world also had a grand total of 0 villages and 1 above ground structure. Thank you, programmers. And this is not to say, by the way, that you're going to create a world and there's going to be nothing in it. My world is definitely one of the more unlucky cases, but of all the survival worlds I've made in this game, which is many, there's a very noticeable lack of structures and biome variety. And yes, commenter, I'm sure your world has 40 villages, 9 ocean monuments, 8 woodland mansions, 16 desert temples, 22 witch huts, 5 jungle temples, every single biome in the game, and my mom's phone number, but that doesn't mean that what I'm explaining in detail right now isn't a real issue with this game. Please flee back to Reddit. Certainly you can sometimes spawn into some luck, but much more often than not, you won't. And speaking of not accommodating for things, how about that mob cap? Lower the mob cap, but don't change the spawn percentages. It makes you wonder if anyone programming this was actually playing the game. For those of you familiar with the 2009 video game Minecraft, you may be aware that to reach the final boss of the game, you have to kill mobs called Endermen, collect Ender Pearls, and use them to activate an end portal once you find one. If you didn't know that, you may be watching the wrong video. I'll put a link to content you might prefer watching right now in an iCard up top. Either that or this was next on your autoplay and your hands have been dirty for the past 20 minutes. The spawn rates for Endermen on their own is lower than most other mobs, so back up and look at Pocket Edition version 0.15.4 alpha, which this game was built off of. A maximum of 70 hostile mobs could be loaded in at any given time across all loaded in chunks. Come the 3DS, a maximum of 24 hostile mobs could be loaded in at any given time across all chunks. God, so let's not adjust those spawn rates, and congratulations, you have one of the biggest fucking nightmares this franchise has ever had to offer. In my entire time playing in the survival world you're seeing right now, I saw a total of, and I swear to God, I saw a total of 4 Endermen before going to the end, and I have over 60 hours of footage in this world. Here's the 4 that I saw. I'm not shitting you. Thank God for looting 3, stronghold chests, and villager trading. Now, having complained for an extent of time I could have spent killing myself, I can only whine about general things so much, but there's just so many more little things the world needs to know about. I can tell you what it's like to play this game. There's a bunch of other jerk-offs too who could tell you what it's like to play this game, but I want to tell you what it's really like to play this game. Not just pick it up and put it down, but full-on play Minecraft new Nintendo 3DS edition. From boot up to credits, everything. All 59 achievements, every death, win, surprise, and nightmare. And if you're willing to stick around for the journey, I think you'll get actually nothing out of this, but you should watch it anyway. Please join me as I put to use the 206 gigabytes of footage I've been gathering over the past 4 months and slowly learn the true meaning of Dead Inside. This is your fault, by the way. That 50,000 number, you did this. I'm blaming you for this. Thanks a lot, asshole. Now I gotta play this shit. But before I offend the 4 of you who are real people and not bots I paid to watch this so I never have to get a real job, let's explore the good, the bad, and the slightly even more bad of everyone's favorite industry regurgitate, Minecraft new Nintendo 3DS edition. 59. That's how many achievements it takes to get 59 achievements. I'm happy to report that as of the last update for this game, all the achievements work and can actually be gotten. What a luxury. I'm looking at you, other version of Minecraft. Take notes. Because of the not biome scale and mob rate optimization I just talked about, there's a handful of these that are just an absolute nightmare to get. For a few of them, you're going to be looking up seeds on GameFAQs and wasting your time in many other ways. Okay, well, actually don't take notes. But obviously there's a few basic achievements we can just knock out from the start, right? Taking inventory, getting wood, bench making, time to mine, getting an upgrade, time to strike, cow tipper, monster hunter, hot topic. Within 5 minutes you can knock out like 9 or 10 of these. Not that this is like news or something, I mean it's the same spiel in like any other version. But you know what is shocking? This comment I received on a video 5 months ago. Why did you have a boner? Another easy achievement is saddle up, because you literally just have to tame a horse. You don't need a saddle, don't need horse armor or anything, just straight up sit on a horse until it loves you. An enticing challenge. Sitting on something until hearts come out of it. Sounds like something Chris Christie would accidentally do. Another simple one. Acquire hardware. just smelt an ingot. And you might as well throw a pork chop in while you're wasting coal. Great way to impress your friends. Something about mining in this game makes me feel the following emotions. I don't actually know what I mean by that. I wrote this portion of the script while on a bender. But when you're going around, you get like this holy shit moment. Like, holy shit, there's a giant orange hole in the world. And then you walk forward and it was just a chunk that wouldn't load in. It's so weird to just be in the dark for so long and then you just see a bright skybox. Then you'll be going around and see these floating orange or blue pixels. Like there's some texture shit going on here, but why would it even be happening? Why can I see through the world but only these spots in particular? They're poking holes in reality. But while you're down here, you can knock out another achievement. Iron Man. All the fun of being Robert Downey Jr., minus the really expensive drugs. With this armor, I can now comfortably stand next to something that would kill me anyway, and confidently mine blue things. With these blue things, I can now make a blue pickaxe. And with this blue pickaxe, I can now collect black hard stuff. And with black hard stuff, I can start a campsite. And also make another portal. Things may seem like they're moving along fast, and that's because they are, but I'm also not wasting any time here. At this point, I'm about 3 hours in and getting done what can be done. But believe me, the further in we get, the more ass pain that will be divided unevenly between each feeling ill and lion tamer. What are your thoughts on hitboxes? Do you hate them as much as I do? Don't you just wish we could live in a world where collision is just a suggestion? I'm gonna blow my brains out. I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to be aiming for, but it died eventually, and that's something we can all look forward to. While we're here in the Nether, I'd like to let you know that you better pray to God there's a Nether fortress in here somewhere, because if not, guess who's been wasting their time for 4 hours? You can't reset the Nether. If no fortress, then boo-hoo. Start a new world and cross your fingers again. Redo everything you just did and continue from there. I'd also like to throw in that games crash. Games be doing that sometimes. This game is no stranger. Don't take this long-ass autosave for granted. A lot can happen in 20 minutes. Craft a notch apple. Back when you could do that. That requires a grand total of 72 gold ingots. Back to this for a while. And then when you finally get it done, as a bonus, your game freezes. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have Iron Belly. Stop starvation with rotten flesh. I've never done this one by accident. I always end up just running in a circle like a jackass until I starve myself. If a watched pot never boils, Steve Minecraft never starts dying of starvation when you want him to. Fish is delicious. Fish with a fishing rod. Once the fish you're fishing for is fished, put the fish in a furnace to get cooked fish. You take the cooked fish and eat it, and that's how you get delicious fish. This one's just to get you to waste iron, I swear to God. Smelt everything. Connect 3 chests to a furnace using 3 hoppers. A lot of the problem with these redstone things is since the simulation distance is so low, you gotta be close to everything for it to work. If you had some redstone contraption that's spread over probably 5 or more chunks, shit's not gonna work. Like, this dispenser isn't gonna do much unless you can see it. It's not gonna mean much beyond the fog. Still means an achievement though. The simulation distance becomes a bigger issue later on. You'll see. If you feel like going out to explore the world, be sure to get the Have a Cheerful Day achievement before you go because I couldn't find a good relevant spot in the video to talk about this one. You know what achievement's missing from this game? Leader of the Pack. I don't know why this achievement was left out. Tame 5 wolves. Lion Tamer is in this game, not Leader of the Pack though. I wonder what happened there. Did they accidentally leave this one out, or did they accidentally put this one in? I feel like if you find a dog while exploring and are taking a boat, something bad is required to happen and he's not making it home with you. I'd like to comment on this game's terrible render distance for a moment because it's relevant to 2 of the achievements. If you try to look up what the render distance of this game is set to, the most common answer you'll get is 6 chunks. I don't believe for a second that this is rendering 6 chunks. Everywhere that makes this claim backs it with literally nothing, which leads me to believe that someone pulled that number out of their ass and took a guess and everyone else just went along with it. I'd like to see one line of code inside this game that's telling these people that it's rendering 6 chunks. What is a chunk? A chunk is a 16 by 16 cube, but for the sake of making this easier to understand, let's just say that for every 16 blocks you can see ahead of you, that's 1 chunk. 6 chunks would suggest that there are 6 entire sets of 16 blocks that you can see rendered in front of you. In other words, this bullshit claim that the render distance is 6 chunks means that I can see 96 fucking blocks ahead of me, which couldn't be any more ridiculous. I'd love to meet the genius who decided this game's render distance must be 6 chunks. I've got a few bats I'd love to introduce to his ribs. I saw one other person online comment on the render distance claiming it's 64 blocks, which would be 4 chunks, and that sounds more believable, so I did my own test. I built a pillar, walked backwards until I couldn't see it, and counted. And wouldn't you know it, it was not 96 fucking blocks. There's 2 different numbers to take into account. How far you can see with the fog, and how far you can see without it. Every version of Minecraft has fog, so you won't see the chunks pop in and out. And with that fog, you get a lovely 48 blocks of distance. By angling your camera weirdly, you can see more than you can looking straight forward for some reason. And if you count from there, you get 64 blocks. If you turn off the fog by going into the end and then leaving because the devs forgot to turn the fog back on when you return to the overworld, you get a much more clear view of the chunk unloading as soon as you move beyond the 64th block. So to whoever made the claim that this game has a render distance of 6 chunks, I'd love to see the ass you pulled that out of. The correct answer is 4 chunks, or more More realistically, 3 chunks with 1 chunk of fog. But at any given time, the maximum the game will ever render directly in front of you is 64 blocks straight ahead. So now that we figured that out, let me introduce you to one of the worst achievements in this game. Sniper Duel. Sniper Duel is a simple challenge in most versions. Kill a skeleton with an arrow from 50 meters away, 1 meter being 1 block. Well, okay, tell me how in God's fucking name I'm supposed to kill a skeleton 50 meters away when I can only see 48 blocks in front of me. Well, fret not, brain damage viewers. In this game, the achievement was changed to only 40 meters because of the Pee-wee style render distance. But even with that, you have to kill a skeleton 8 blocks in front of the farthest thing you can see on a 240p screen. Yeah, let's just keep that in mind also. This is a 240p screen. How perfect of a scenario are you going to be in where you can get a skeleton's health down low enough so that he's one tap, keep track of him and stay on flat enough ground, and then shoot him with an arrow on a 240p screen at night 40 blocks away? The answer is, you're not. So you find a skeleton, dig a hole, nerd pull directly above him, and then just spam arrows until you see the achievement pop up. If you build up too high though, the skeleton will just unload or your arrows won't have an effect in the chunk it's in. It's absurd. But if you think that's absurd, oh boy, just sit tight. You're not going to believe what happens 25 achievements from now. It's going to be a lot more difficult than making charcoal with wood. Yeah. Enchanting feels more important in this version than others. Not for any intentional gameplay reasons, but because you never know when the frame rate's going to drop and you're going to get your shit rocked by the low frame rate fairy. That guy's a dick. And what better way to celebrate not having an enchanting table yet than by dedicating a space to it despite it not existing yet? Decorate it with bookshelves, but you need books for that, and you need paper for that, and you need sugarcane for that, and you need nothing further than that. You better be close to that sugarcane wherever you plant it, because if your house is too big and you walk away from that chunk, boy oh boy will nothing grow. Just use bone meal, I don't have the fucking time for this. And then bookshelf. Wow, such a highlight of my day. And then on top of that, wow, how about it? This day just couldn't be more mediocre. Like a blessing from God or whoever the hell is responsible for me playing this. These people, these quote-unquote people. Making a farm in this game feels really, time to farm by the way, feels really pointless because of that simulation distance I was just talking about 40 seconds ago. Maybe if I had a better source of food, like the kind where I kill things for their meat, I would have less of a reason to complain about this. Also, none of this matters in the slightest, like in general. I always thought this achievement could have been a Breaking Bad reference, but instead it's just called Bake Bread. Like why? Bake Bread. Like the dumbest name they could have gone with. You guys ever go for that one achievement, leave the end and start the credits? You know, that one where you leave the end and start the credits? Bake bread. I'd love to meet the plain bagel that named this one. What a joke. But you know what isn't a joke? 9/11. Mobs that have to be crafted with blocks always have some kind of issue with existing. Like they can never just fucking exist. I feel like this is the case in every version, but this game has got to have the worst case of I refuse to exist syndrome. Like what the fuck am I doing wrong here? What are the lines of code deciding this? This actually took so much time to try and figure out that I just left. Like I just gave up. Came back like 40 minutes later and then it worked. I'd like to be confused and rant about this, but honestly, I stopped feeling anything 9 achievements ago. These aren't even gratifying anymore. It's like a gunshot after getting your lungs stabbed. And there's like 30 more of these. I'm gonna take this opportunity to talk about Portal, because the achievement The Lie is a Portal reference. You guys ever play Portal? Remember when they made that RTX version and people were getting pissed because the red buttons were see-through or some dumb shit like that? That's all I had to say. Thanks for listening. Maybe things will be easier from here on out. Fat chance. The Nether is the best place to get fucked by the low frame rate fairy, because you get set on fire somehow and then killed by something you can't find. If you want potions, which you're gonna need, you need blaze rods. If you want blaze rods, you gotta stand still in a fortress and wait for blaze to spawn in your chunk. That's the name of the game. You don't need blaze powder to brew, so you can save all your rods for whatever crap you like doing with rods. Speaking of doing things with rods, another way this game fucks you is by making me start a new world so I can get like 4 achievements. For rabbit season, you gotta find a rabbit, kill it, cook it, eat it. Just like the Donner Party, except it's food and not your dead parents. And unlike the Donner Party, cows can be bred with wheat for an achievement in Minecraft. The worst part about trying to kill yourself by jumping into lava is when before you do so, you drink the one thing that prevents you from killing yourself by jumping into lava. Swimming around at the bottom of the Nether is such a joke because you really just can't see jack shit. At the very least, I can look forward to being dead someday. Wandering the world and finding a structure is always exciting. I've always loved how woodland mansions can never generate in a way that isn't hilarious. And then you're in a forest, so leaves just clip through the walls. But woodland mansions are always fun to run around in. You find the evoker and kill that prick, and then you've unlocked feeling ill. I feel like I unlocked that achievement a long time ago. And of course, you get your Totem of Undying, which acts differently in this game than it does in any other version of Minecraft. In general, you would put the totem in your offhand, and then when you die, you get a second chance at life. Unlike the Donner Party. But in this game, since there's no offhand, as long as the totem is somewhere in your hotbar, it'll still revive you. This version is the only one to have Totems of Undying, but not have the offhand. It also still uses the old texture. Bucket in Furnace. Achievement. Lava. You don't even need to use the bucket of lava. You just have to put it in the furnace. Like, okay, that's the challenge? What the fuck was the challenge? Move an item? God, I think I might need a few minutes after that. I feel like I just beat Dark Souls. What a joke of an achievement. This next one blows if you don't got a swamp in your world. Even if you do have a swamp though, it still sucks. But at least then you have the opportunity to suffer. Inception. Push a piston, move it, then put it back or some shit like that, I don't know. The real challenge here is figuring out what the fuck this means. Push a piston with a piston, then pull the original piston with that piston. You need a regular piston and a sticky piston for this one, and you need a slime ball for the sticky piston. So you find a swamp and watch those unoptimized spawn rates do their job. Stand still until a slime comes into existence. I'm serious, just wait. It'll happen eventually. At some point. It's so gonna happen soon. After 55 minutes, a slime showed up, and I could do the achievement. It's stuff like that that makes you not want to beat this game. If you think you'll just come across a slime in a cave, you're not. I mean, you might, but you're not. Not unless a commenter lets me know that they just can't stop slimes from spawning in their world, and I just don't know what I'm talking about. You dumb fucking Redditor. I finally figured out a use for those 3 hoppers I wasted iron on earlier for that smelt everything achievement. I can use them to get the freight station achievement instead. Ah, that's why they had me make them. Yeah. If you get screwed and don't have a single village in your world, you may not have any villagers, but you'll always have the dead ones. And the dead ones can be coerced into not being dead via a weakness potion and a golden apple. Ah, the age-old remedy. Now you get to live in my walls. And part of living in my walls is selling me paper and clocks. And after a while, maybe enough emeralds go back and forth to net me an achievement. Such a good use of resources. I can't wait to go to my storage room and dump a bunch of paper and clocks in a random chest that'll never open again. If you happen to revive a cartographer, you have the chance to get an explorer map. Since you can't hold a map, as long as the explorer map is in your hotbar, an icon pinpointing the structure will stay on your map regardless of where in the world you are. While back on the topic of maps, obviously there is no regular map item in this game since you have it permanently on your bottom screen. Because of this, there is no map in the creative menu. You can't put maps in item frames, and maps don't appear in dungeons. Well, at least they're not supposed to. Sometimes the game just finds a way to tiptoe around the mile-wide crevice that is this game's tight and secure programming, and you'll just find a map anyway because they fucked up and left it in the game. It does nothing and doesn't work if you're wondering. That's honestly impressive. At least with the things that are missing, you can easily just assume they were lazy or didn't want to bother. But with this, I mean, it's like genuinely amazing. Instead of adding something to the game, they just had to take something out, and they couldn't even do that right. They even found a way to fuck up removing content from the game. On a Rail feels like one of those achievements that's specifically designed to waste your time. This is the one you start working on, and you're just there like, wow, I could get a job right now. Like, it's just a complete waste of my time, but I'll do it anyway, despite this being cartoonishly ridiculous. And you never know if you hit 500 meters. You feel like you totally did, but you just gotta go a little bit further. If I was fortunate enough to have an ocean monument in this world, Freediver would be more interesting to get, but I don't, so I get to sit here for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yep, 2 minutes. 2 fun minutes. Doesn't get much better than this. Here's a decent achievement. Overkill. For this one, you definitely gotta enchant a sword, and you're gonna need to make a strength potion. Take it, and hopefully your sword does enough damage. If not, then you just wasted a bunch of time, but you'll probably be used to that by now. You really gotta think ahead if you don't want to be stuck doing this forever. As soon as you get a brewing stand, you'll want to make a potion of poison and just carry it around all the time, because the second you see a witch, you gotta take your opportunity. I played in this specific world for over 35 hours, and this was the only witch I saw. I think the most reliable way to find a saddle in a world is in a nether fortress. Usually there's chests at every other corner, and they all got horse armor and saddles in them. But if you're lucky, none of them will have any saddles in them, so instead of mining until you fall into a monster room, you're gonna sit down and fish, and fish, and fish. And when you get it, all you gotta do now is make a carrot on a Oh, a carrot. Where the fuck am I getting a carrot? Probably not from the villages that don't exist, or the desert temples that don't exist, or the monster rooms that don't exist. So you kill zombies until one drops a carrot. Thank God zombies drop carrots for some reason. Classic zombie trait. You find a pig and hurt it. That's the achievement. Hurt a pig, but do it in this convoluted, crazy, fucked up way. This is like, how dumb can we make the player feel? How can we get people to realize they're doing nothing with themselves? I think, just maybe, I can't stand playing this anymore. I'm about to make a new world for our next achievement, so before I do, let's take a nice little break for a moment. Hi, I'm Bearman with 4 numbers. Welcome back 45,000 other people who only subscribe for the Minecraft shit. It's nice to see you again. This segment I'm making up right now is called Voice of the Viewer. It's where I take screenshots of things I've seen viewers say and give you my thoughts on their words. AIATNXFLP554 from Rhode Island says, "Can't wait for Minecraft Frank Ocean Cockring Edition." I don't actually know where they're from, I'm just making that part up. Yeah, I heard that one's on its way. Drenched in Syrup 6059 from Rhode Island says, "Can I be in your 50,000 subscribers special? My uncle says I'm a good kisser, so that could be your payment if you put me in." They're all from Rhode Island. Well, you made it in, and I don't take kisses as payment anymore. I had a bad experience with that once. Space Burbles from Rhode Island says, "Using this as background audio while I jack off. Why is this what I attract? I don't want to be seen with any of you people. What state of mind do you even have to be in to first type this into your computer, but then proceed to actually comment it?" Thanks for that. Our last viewer words of the day come from Sultan of Awesome of Rhode Island, who says, "Hey man, how are you?" Not great, Sultan. Not great. And that is going to do it for today's segment of Voice of the Viewer. I'd like to thank today's special guest fans and reassure you that I will not be uploading for another month after this. I love being miserable and playing garbage. I want more. Lion Tamer is in the same boat as Taste of Your Own Medicine or Inception. You gotta just stand around until the thing you need shows up. My first time playing this game, I stood in place for 80 minutes holding fish, and then an ocelot just walked up to me. First you gotta find a world with a jungle. Shout out to this dude on GameFAQs for posting a seed. This is also a great example of the world being comprised of one gigantic biome. In this case though, it's actually to our benefit. You can run around and look all over. You're not seeing an ocelot. Just wait it out. I built a house in one spot for like an hour and then one spawned. It's so ridiculous. I wasn't ready with the fish, so I trapped it in a hole. I got a fish and yeah, that was an hour and a half spent on one achievement in a world I have no use for anymore. And while on the topic of making a new world for one specific thing, I might as well make another one, this time for two specific things. I need an ocean monument. Thank you to this guy on GameFAQs. The other guy means nothing to me now. Instead of spending an hour and a half in your new world, this time you spend 2 hours because you gotta go underwater and all that shit. So you do the whole thing again, blah blah blah. Go underwater, immediately find the Elder Guardian by accident and just spam attack on it and wow, there you go. This was number 46, by the way. We're like actually getting there. Does getting there mean finishing all the achievements or me killing myself? You'll just have to watch and find out. And of course, with the Guardian now dead, we get the sponge. Wet the sponge, furnace it. And there's another one down. Wow, I'm never returning to this world again. Remember our little chunk loading render distance lesson earlier? And we tried achieving sniper duel, but the piece of shit render distance reassured us that there is no god? How about that, but literally worse? Beam Me Up is an achievement that requires you to throw an ender pearl and teleport, get this, 100 meters away. Wow, well let's think about this for a second. A version of Minecraft where you can only see 48 blocks in front of you and 64 blocks are rendered at any given time. Who in the holy mother of fuck was the Oxford professor who saw this and was just cool with it? We do see a problem with this, right? You useless dipshits? An achievement that requires you to throw an ender pearl 100 blocks away. Which part of the brain did we pull this one out of? Was it the part with the latex glove stitched to it, or the part with the basic motor skills missing? How did we as a human race even manage to pull this one off? I don't even have words to describe how sick to my stomach I am over this shit. Surely by this point you can understand that I'm frustrated playing this, but really, I'm at a point where all the anger being birthed in my head is just escaping in the form of utter disgust. If this is really what all of human evolution has led to, us making this decision, we just need to blow the planet up at this point. I'm willing to just say we gave it our best and this was it. And now we can all just shoot ourselves. If anyone else feels the same, please let me know on Twitter or in the subreddit, and we can all agree on a time and place that works for us. I don't know the simulation distance of this game, and there is no documentation of it online. However, I'm willing to bet that if it is actually at least 100 blocks, which it fucking better be, it's not many more than 100 blocks. Why do I think this? Well, I'm gonna say it has something to do with the fact that throwing an ender pearl often leads to nothing happening because it lands in a chunk that doesn't currently exist. Yes, try throwing an ender pearl, see how well it works out. What a nice waste. You know, you would assume the point of throwing an ender pearl is to get somewhere far away real fast. So it's terrific that throwing it far away in this game is 90% of the time a complete waste of your effort and resources. Let's step back for a second. I'm gonna make the bold assumption that the simulation distance is actually at least 100 blocks. With that in place, I'm gonna make the educated guess that the simulation distance of this game is either 112 or 128 blocks. And I'm leaning more towards 112. But giving it the benefit of the doubt, that leaves a 28 block safe ground in which the ender pearl can land and you can actually get the achievement. While 28 blocks seems like a decently sized margin, let's remember that the odds of an enderman spawning anywhere at all is extremely low in this game. And let's remember that the odds of it dropping an ender pearl are 50-50. When you throw your ender pearl hoping you got the perfect angle that drops the pearl somewhere in between 100 blocks and 128 blocks, you probably are not going to get it on your first try. Good fucking god. So what do? Well, you pull the same shit as you did with Sniper Duel. Dig a hole, build up, and hope. Hope that you counted right. Just make sure you started low enough because the height limit in this game is only 128 blocks. This is the safest bet and the only way I would suggest doing this achievement in this game. Regardless of how you choose to go about completing this achievement, the best option will always be using the 3DS to beat your own head in until you die. Nothing like making 2 animals fuck for an achievement. If I had a nickel for every time I made animals fuck for an achievement, I'd have 2 nickels. There's usually a lot of horses out in the world. Your challenge here is going to be finding a donkey. They're not too rare though. Just drag its ass back home, or don't. I brought him home because I honestly wasn't paying attention. It was like 4 in the morning and I have no clue why I did that. Good use of my invaluable time. We've made it to number 50. This is the home stretch. Now it gets interesting. The fucking Wither. The dude who has 3 heads and is black. Something most of us can relate to. The Nether. Here we are again, going Wither hunting. But let me tell you something. I don't have the patience to kill wither skeletons all day. So enchanting we go. Keep moving shit around until you get what you want. So you go back and like 15 minutes later you got your skulls. Find a nice deep cave somewhere and get ready for a very massive dip in performance. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna struggle to get the thing to actually fucking spawn, and then when it finally does, you're gonna run like hell so that when the game freezes for an entire second, you don't die immediately. Then you're gonna run in and die immediately. You cannot keep track of this prick. You gotta keep your distance as much as possible in his first form. After that, just keep drinking potions and pray. It doesn't matter how many you drink though. If you get caught in a bad spot, you're gonna die in seconds. Normally, you should be able to just run around him and stay out of sight, but when the frame rate is piss, you just cannot. Like, not a skill issue, not I suck or something. You just cannot keep up with this fuck. Whenever you- oh, cheating death, okay then. You know who didn't cheat death? The Bryant party. Because a lot of them died also. After enough fucking around, you kill the asswipe and then almost die because you forgot that he explodes. The nether star he drops also paves the way for another achievement, and we might as well get that started. Nothing like getting 1,476 fictitious ores to waste my time. If you've already set up your room, then just go mining. Get it over with. Just fucking mine. It's brutal. But if you're lucky enough, you'll die in the process. I wasn't lucky enough for that, so here's my completed beacon. I almost feel something. It's also worth mentioning that the game has finally hit Google Slide status of frame rate. It's unbelievably bad. When you've built enough shit in your world, filled in enough of the map, and have chests full of shit, you get the frame rates you're seeing now, and there is nothing you can do about it. It gets so bad sometimes, it's practically unplayable. Sometimes I have to close the game and come back in, because maybe the 3DS's memory is clogged or something, I don't know. I thought it might be because I'm playing off of a micro SD card, so I put the cartridge in, and nope, it still runs like ass. Nice. Well, I don't have to be here too much longer. There's 6 more achievements, and all of them are locked behind an end portal. It is not impossible, by the way, that an end ship doesn't spawn in the end gateway after defeating the Ender Dragon in this game, meaning no elytra, meaning no this. I've actually had that happen once. I think at that point, you just get a job and give up, honestly. But with an end portal found, it's time to prep. I'd like to say I've had fun playing this, but let me tell you something that just makes it feel so empty. It's all stuck right here on this thing. It's not getting updated anymore. If your world is laggy, then that's just it. Deal with it or make a new world. But most of all, there was never an option to transfer worlds to another version of Minecraft. So you'll never see these worlds live on with today's updates. There's no solid, reliable way to do this through homebrew yet, and even if they could fully figure it out or did, you can't just be a normal dude playing this and move your world to another platform. It's fucking sad. You really are just trapped on here. I guess it's also what kind of makes this version special. It's just its own thing. A little tiny isolated world that's complete. It's got pretty much all you need, except like a lot, but you know, still. I can't help but find it charming, but I will say, I am so physically sick of playing this, I just want it to end. I'm getting the same feeling I got when I played Tomodachi Life for like 14 hours. Like just one way or another, this all needs to end. I need credits, like now. So, you suffer through your barely tolerable frame rate, suck it up, get lost in a stronghold, and then set the portal. The portal doesn't have the chowder effect like in the other games. I guess we now know that that's where the technical limitations lie. It was this texture that made us wait 6 years. But once you're in, boy do I have a lot to say. There's just so much to love. First of all, the fog gets turned off so you can actually see the towers. Thank God. I swear to you, the threshold of Enderman face looking at is so much wider in this game. It feels like no matter where you look, an Enderman is gonna kill you. It's the biggest pain in the ass. I've never had this issue in any other version. You could literally, and I'm serious, be looking straight down the entire time since spawning in, and you will still somehow get an Enderman on your ass. You know how like the 3DS screen is tiny, has the resolution of a shoe, and you move the camera using this? Well, try keeping track of this guy. You just can't. There's too much to consider. And even if within the frame rate dropping, the Enderman's ass fucking you, and not being able to follow the black thing in the black sky on the 240p screen, you can still stay on top of things, you're screwed as soon as the dragon dragon's breath comes down and just practically freezes the game. By the time you see the next frame, you're dead. Try playing like this, it's ridiculous. Never save during this. You're gonna be quitting the game, loading back to the menu, booting back into your world, and entering the end over and over and over and over again. The dragon's breath is an achievement at least. I don't know in which of these frames I picked it up, but I don't know, fucking I don't care. There is just no shortage of you getting fucked. I cannot stress that enough. In every possible way, this game is grabbing you by the balls to the very literal end. Keep dying and dying and dying. Here's a little montage of those feel-good moments. At some point, you'll question why you spent all this time to get here, and you can't really answer yourself. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna sit by while Herbert Hoover fucks a dog in 2039. And once I thought of that, I beat the game. Yeah, thank fucking God it's over. Just pray your game doesn't crash when the experience drops. Torches don't drop the dragon egg in this game for some reason. I don't think that's intentional, I think someone fucked that up. I don't care though, whatever. And thankfully the code functions properly and there is actually an end gateway. So you build up to it and fuck. No! So you kill the Ender Dragon again, and then build up to it and head in. There's two things I gotta do in here. I need to get shulkers to float me 100 meters up in the air for this one, and I need the elytra for this one. With one of these towers, you go in and you try over and over and over to not die while getting floated in the air. Keep healing, because the last thing you want is to die 90 meters in the air on a floating tower. Such a fun time. Find the ship, grab the elytra, and my job here is done. I just gotta get back home. I got an idea for this elytra bullshit. It's fun that the elytra is in the 3DS edition. It feels so high-hopesy. Once you loot the living ass out of these towers and dump everything in an ender chest, you can finally see the names of all the people you need to send death threats to. It's like figuring out who murdered your entire family, except this was more heartbreaking. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna dig a hole, right? Jump down it and you immediately get the achievement. That's splendid. I imagine the devs would program that one and picture you soaring through the air into a tiny hole, but then you can just do this and it's like, shouldn't you guys, like, do something about this? There is one more achievement. There is one thing separating me from putting the 3DS down and taking a piss, and it's a couple lines of code inside a mess of a game. I can only imagine what this game's insides look like. The end. Again. Respawn the Ender Dragon. I need 4 end crystals. What do you need for end crystals? You need gas tears. Great. Just when I thought the hell was over, I have to go back to hell. Just love it all so much. Just too good. I never want it to stop. Thankfully, you don't have to actually beat him again. You just gotta spawn him in. So, head back in and just... fuck off! Go back in and that's that. The 59th and final achievement. Oh my god. Fuck all of this and fuck the people responsible for this. I am so sick of this shit. Oh my god. The Donner Party may have froze to death and then ate their own families, but that's a birthday party compared to the shit I just did. So that's that. Those were the achievements, and the fog doesn't come back in the overworld because they forgot to turn it back on. But there's a few more things this game has to offer, and you wouldn't be getting the Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition experience if we didn't check out this other crap I couldn't fucking care less about at this point. How would you like to do all the stupid bullshit you just did again, but this time with some other asshole stupid enough to play this? Yes, who could forget about multiplayer? Local fucking multiplayer, and you don't even have to pay for it. With 2 new 3DS consoles, 2 copies of the game, and 2 brain-dead idiots, you can experience the hell of playing this game with another person. No online play here, just local multiplayer. You know how Minecraft on consoles was always stuck to 8 players, and then with PS4 and Xbox One it was a big deal when the Battle Games mode started supporting 16 players? And then you had PS Vita Edition where multiplayer was always limited to 4 players max. Well, here the maximum number of players you can have in a world is 2. Wow. 1 for each person on planet Earth who plays this shit. You just gotta find the other asshole who also plays this. It's me. The connecting player can't earn achievements though because, I don't know. You know what else the connecting player can't do? Have a decent fucking experience. If the host pauses or is entering a portal, you better be patient because you're gonna be sitting waiting for them. When you go through a portal or a pause though, the host can keep doing whatever they want. Just fuck you in particular. It's kinda fun though to play with someone. It's a little fun time. This was added a few updates in and never changed after being introduced. It'll always just be here. waiting. Something that wasn't added in an update, though, is a patch to the fact that the host can see both their own and the guest's position on the map, but the guest can only see their own location. Sometimes. Sometimes the guest can see both, sometimes they can't. The colors of the markers aren't always consistent between players also. And by the way, try reading the other player's gamertag when they're anything more than 5 blocks away from you. It's a joke. And just like the signs, the font is just not correct. Why did it have to be changed? Speaking of text though, this game features 20 unique title screen splash text exclusive to this version, so I guess that makes up for everything else. DLC. The Festive Mashup Pack. It's here. It performs like ass, it's a lonely ass world. Walking around in it just thinking what the hell I would do with this. This was $6. It's a classic mashup pack, but this is one of those things where it's like, they just did it because they could. They could do this and they could charge money for it, so they did. They also could put in the Mario mashup pack, so they did. Here it is. The whole damn thing. The best part about this one here is that since many of the structures are massive as shit, you can't even see the whole thing at once because of the shit render distance. It's hilarious. Look at all these massive structures we built that you can't see because you're playing on a goddamn 3DS. And all those music discs to collect in the world, you know, like the thing to do in the mashup world, well, there's no music discs in this game, so you're just doing nothing. There's also no fireworks in this game. I couldn't find a place to say that in the video, so I'm just saying it now. Also, the old stonecutter is in this game, but does nothing. On some day in 2018, for some reason, the Minecraft website announced a Creeper-themed 2DS XL would be coming out in Europe and Japan with Minecraft pre-installed on it. No North America. We got the physical release, but they get the Creeper 2DS. And how do it be? It's pretty cool. It's weird seeing the Microsoft logo on the box of a Nintendo console. It's also one of 3 Minecraft-themed consoles, one of 2 not to be released in North America. I don't even get these decisions, by the way. We keep pretending this is normal, but like, why did this happen in the middle of 2018? Did we forget that, like, this was all happening? And this is what it was promoting? We do know that, right? Who told someone to do this and then they actually did it? Who told someone to do literally any of this? Who's the guy who did this? This isn't unique to the Creeper Edition 2DS XL, but I've always loved how the speakers on this console are both at the bottom. Like, what? There's a million ways to accidentally cover these things, whether that be with your palms when playing or with your torso while you rested on yourself. Since the Switch was out already, I think Nintendo just let some intern design this thing on like an Etch-a-Sketch or something. As if every other DS and 3DS ever doesn't just have the speakers next to the screen so they're protected when you close the system. And then since the speakers are on the outside, dust can get in and muffle the audio. I mean, there's literally no sense to this design. It's like anti-design. What are the most pointless changes we can make that ruin the functionality of our system? See, this way if the console suffers from any kind of water damage, the speakers will be the first thing to go. Common sense just doesn't happen anymore in this industry. I know I'm lingering on this, but it's not like these speakers are going to be playing anything special. The music in this game is so fucking compressed, it's ridiculous. Listen to this. 2DS XLs are built so cheaply, I wouldn't be surprised if you could blow these speakers out playing this game. I was always annoyed when the next update for this game would come out and a feature I was hoping for wasn't added yet. I remember making this whole Hunger Games world thinking that some future update would let you change the game mode in Super Flat Worlds. But nope, that just never happened. And why? Why didn't they just let you do that? They never updated the game to let you have more than 8 worlds. And I always thought they would add the ability to copy worlds. But that didn't happen. And I wanted the ability to transfer worlds, use cheats in-game, reset the nether and end, regenerate the edges of the world for when new biomes were added, online multiplayer, more settings, better map management. I mean, call me hopeful, but I remember checking the Minecraft website all the time to see if a new update came out. And I still remember checking one day to see an article talking about the final update for 3DS Edition. And I was pissed. There's still so much more I wanted to see added. But there was something in particular I remember waiting for. Something I was really looking forward to. And what was it? Oh yeah, the fucking 3D? What the fuck happened with that? Wasn't that like literally the point? Like literally the entire point. Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition for the Nintendo 3DS? Stereoscopic 3D to be added in a future update. Wow, thanks Mojang. You guys really know how to lie, do jack shit for a year and a half, and then flip off your fans. What? How did they even get away with this? We just let them get away with this? This was all I wanted. And though most people really gave zero shits about 3D by that point, it seems like there really truly was literally no point in bringing Minecraft to the 3DS in the year 2017 unless you were going to add 3D to it. That being the reason it exists. Oh, you ever play Minecraft 3DS Edition? It's the 3D one. No, it's not. Such a perfect representation of these guys. Who cares if we told you you'd get 3D? You trusted us and bought it anyway. You think journalists are going to bring attention to your discontinued 3DS game? No one's going to hear a word about this, and we at Mojang could not possibly care any less what you look forward to. We already have your money, now fuck off. You gave us the $30, why would we keep developing this? And what a sad missed opportunity most of all. I think genuinely, it would have just been so much fun to play your worlds and explore in 3D. Playing multiplayer and seeing another player pop out of the screen when he gets too close, watching the Ender Dragon fly around with actual depth, flying through the air with the Elytra, taking in the 3D view, playing ping pong with a ghast as a fire charge pops through the screen. I mean really, what a sad waste of a development team. Just all around a shame. So that's how Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition ends. Broken, buggy, hollow, and 3D-less. Just the way Mojang and Microsoft like it. And just the way zombie consumers will buy it. We're the problem. Don't forget that. All this happens because we pay for it. Maybe the lesson to be learned from this is just because the idea of playing Minecraft on a 3DS is fun, and we as sick individuals can find enjoyment in talking about and playing Minecraft like this, maybe, just maybe, this game is a sad example of what happens when people stop caring. When an industry led by companies that just buy up other companies try to do something fun. Companies more interested in the money than the art. Companies in an industry no longer led by people who care. Instead of properly planning and releasing this game, it was thought better to take a version of Pocket Edition and just build off of it instead of building a version of Minecraft from scratch specifically designed and optimized for a very unique piece of hardware. Unarguably incompetent developers who managed to deteriorate the game over the course of its life and ignore the most basic of bugs. Taking a functional mobile game and just watching it slowly fall apart over the course of 16 months. Making promises, being lazy, and leaving the player in the dirt. A lot of people love to defend Mojang and say this kind of stuff is all Microsoft's fault, but that's just absolutely not true. The people who don't care are all at the top, and no one cares. No one cares anymore because you'll buy it anyway. Neither of these companies give a flying fuck about you, no matter how much you want to convince yourself Mojang is one of the good guys. I think the biggest issue with the franchise nowadays is that Mojang and Microsoft look at a platform and see it as something that can run Minecraft. So instead of developing a version specifically optimized for that platform, like they used to, they just shove the mobile game on it till it runs. And how surprising is it that when you try to port a mobile game to everything, you get shoddy results. But boy oh boy is it cheaper than building a whole new game. And then when it becomes a burden, sorry, no, you can't play that one anymore. Or that one. Or that one. And you can't play like that. Or that. Sorry, asshole. And if you live in Europe, Australia, or New Zealand, you'll know that this game wasn't released in your region until September 20th, 2018. And remember, the last update for this game came out January 15th, 2019, meaning that if you bought this game in these territories on launch day, you would have gotten a version of Minecraft that was supported for a grand total of 3 months and 27 days. Wow, what an absolute con. Maybe the console legacy games were loved so much because they worked. They were versions of Minecraft built and optimized specifically for the platforms they were on. Were they perfect? Fuck no. Sometimes you could really just see where the effort was put into and where they just got a little lazy. But no matter where you were playing, you knew you were playing a stable game made for the platform you were on. And now all you know is you're playing a mobile game that wants you to buy garbage from a cancerous shop filled with soulless slop that can't even load a texture when you boot up, that can't load menus without freaking out, with cheat systems not optimized for anything but mobile, a game you can't pause, can't go a second without being asked about a Microsoft account, can't sit on the main menu without being advertised to, and can't trust that whatever you're playing on will still be supported a year from now. If you enjoy Bedrock, go ahead. By no means am I telling you not to enjoy it, but regardless of your opinion on it, you can't deny that things just felt better like this, way before it turned into this. You can praise your crossplay and quote-unquote consistency all day, but I'd much rather be stuck with these than this corporate crap. I prefer a time where you couldn't get away with doing shit like this without all the biggest voices in the industry calling you out, and now your favorite journalists are buddy-buddy with the bigwigs. You can just feel soul in a game, and when the people who made it just didn't care, it shows. People seem to want to pretend the industry is great right now, but it is truly just complete and utter garbage. No one who cares is in charge anymore. The day the players left and the businessmen took over was the day anyone who genuinely cared lost their right to do so, and your result? A game as such. A game made with no love, that can only be loved by the people who believed in the companies selling it to them. And so, here we are. And listen, I'm not gonna pretend like you should avoid this game like the plague. I don't have hundreds of hours in this version because I love torturing myself, but I certainly can criticize it for what it is. This game has a small but slowly growing community with dedicated people sharing their custom skins and even modding in new features. I hope that one day, the fans can finally finish what Mojang barely even started and put 3D in this game. Put 3D in the 3DS version of Minecraft that Mojang said would have 3D. Until then, we can always enjoy Minecraft in 3D on Gear VR. Oh, nope. Oculus. Oh. PSVR. Oh, no, okay. Well, we always have Java Edition's red and blue 3D set. No, we don't. Well, cross your fingers and hope something happens and maybe this franchise will have slightly less corporate laziness. But that's not going to happen, so instead you should just whine about it online and stop giving money to them. Stop giving money to these people. Microsoft CEO just gave himself a $30 million raise and then laid off 2,500 people. But we couldn't just make a new game from scratch. Too much money. Thanks for the $30 million, though. I'm Bearman, and I've been wasting your time. Eat shit, and thank you for 50,000 subscribers. And an extra massive thank you to my patrons who keep all this going. It really very seriously does keep all of this going. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, where I do almost nothing. And also that subreddit exists now if you need a place to flood with hate. You people need help, and you're coming to the wrong place for it. But thanks for watching.